Hello, everyone. On today's podcast episode, we have Mr. Dinesh Kumar Poobalan, who is the founder and CEO of Greatify, a technology enabled edtech company. Welcome, Dinesh.
What is the core mission and vision of your platform, Greatify? What is the core mission?
So the core vision or rather mission is we wanted to create paperless campuses. We want to create digital first data driven campuses. So that is what our core idea was. So the vision is paperless campuses. The mission is to create digital campuses. First, to create a paperless campus, we need to digitalize everything in a campus, right? Starting from admission all the way till placements or TC for a school or a higher education. So digitalizing every aspect and automating every aspect of an institution is our mission.
So this was where did you started? How did you thought of its idea? I will start something like this.
So this idea has been there for a long time. So just to give a background about me, I'm from Bangalore. I moved to US in 2012, 2013, and I did my master's there. And during even in early 2013 also, right? Like we had, when we look at US, we think that, okay, everything is digitalized, everything is automated, right? I studied in USC and we had five different platforms to just get our marks card. Like we have to log into in one platform to register for a course, log into another platform for our attendance, log into another platform for registering downloading a report card, and then many of them are manually written. So I was in India and I needed my transcripts for visa application, right? For my when I started to work. It used to be a manual process. I need to mail the department, and then I needed to send one of my friend who was in US that day to go collect the marks. So this is a very tedious process. So that's when I was thinking, like, why not unify this whole platform or digitalize this whole why not have one single platform which kind of does everything? And that's where the idea started. But then I went to NVIDIA. I was working for NVIDIA for close to 8-9 years. Then 2020, when just before pandemic started, I wanted to try this out, and I moved back to India and started seriously taking up this initiative and started building the product around it.
Okay. So how do you envision the future of education technology, and where does your platform fit in there?
So the future I see is basically in three verticals, right? First thing is digitalization vertical, which we saw during pandemic. We saw education institutes started to become digitalized. The second vertical I would say is AI, where we see a lot of, I think last week also when GPT-4o release was there, you saw the demo, right? Where anyone can become we don't, private tutoring becomes accessible to everyone. You don't need to sophisticated hardware. We don't need every student gets access to private tutors with the AI thing. The third vertical I see going is VR and AR, where anywhere this becomes classroom. So that's where the 3 point where I see things moving across. And where I see Greatify coming in is the first part is digitalization. Obviously, we are working on that, like where we digitalize every aspect of institution. AI, we already do that in our platform. We have automatic question paper generation or automatic timetable generation, all those things we are doing. The third aspect, what future planning we have, is to work on some VR, AR based activities in our platform to cater all these growing educational aspects.
So what are the key features of your platform that are different from your competitors?
So the core idea of platform was, or the idea was, can we give one day back to a teacher, one day back to an administrator, like give them one day in a week, every week, can we give them free time? So to do that, we have to automate a lot of stuff, right? Like currently, if you look at it, when you take a simple task of timetable generation for a campus, right? It really, I think 5-6 teachers sit together, spend months together to generate a timetable for a single classroom of 1,000 or 2,000 students. What we did is we used AI to automate that. We generate a timetable with the click of a button, because all the information is there. When to need a generate a timetable, you need subject information, teacher information, all that is there in the system. We click of a button, we can generate a timetable. The next thing is academic, right? We can create question papers, like what topics are there. You can upload a whole textbook or a PDF file. Use that using AI, we can generate the whole question paper set based on the difficulty level. And that question paper can be given to students and generate a personalized learning path to a student. So that is where we want to differentiate. We just don't want to be like any other ERP LMS where we just do feature by feature thing. We want to save time. We want to automate where we see bottlenecks, where teachers are spending a lot of time, administrators are spending a lot of time. We want to lessen their effort and increase and automate those processes. So that's where we want to differentiate things. Our first goal is if someone is doing it every day, day in, day out process, how can we automate it?
Okay, so how do you ensure data security and privacy for your users?
So we take data privacy very seriously. What we do is we are GDPR compliant. We are working on ISO standards. So any data not we follow an one-way encryption policy. That is, when once we hand over the system to a user, if they forget the password, even we can't see retrieve the data for them. So it's a single, it's only accessible to that user who has the password to the system. Nobody else can see the data. So we take privacy and data security seriously because we work with colleges also, universities and colleges also.
Okay. So what upcoming features or developments can users look forward to in like Greatify?
So there are two primary products we are launching or working towards. One is called PlaceX, which is the placement management system which we are coming up with, where we are trying to connect like one of the main thing what a student wants out of a college or education is to get a job, right? Placement system is the key aspect there. So we wanted to we found some gaps where it is not automated. It's process driven, people driven, right? So we end up losing a lot of students. I can give you an example probably that will enlighten it. So what happens is in a typical placement drive, right? There'll be a placement officer who would actually get the college companies to come and do an exam, right? And normally the companies would contact the placement officer, give them all the information where the exam hall is, where the exam needs to be conducted. The placement officer has to go to take out an Excel sheet, get all the data who are eligible, send them, add them in a WhatsApp group, and then notify them that, okay, this is the exam. You see the lot of process, right? There's a lot of back and forth involved. There is a lot
The
of
success rate is also like
yeah, and it is process driven. They tend to there are cases where before the placement officer could have added them in WhatsApp group, the exam date would have passed. So these kind of things can be automated, right? If we can connect all the companies, the colleges, and the students in a single platform, any information the company can just post it in the platform and the students can directly access it, and the placement officer also is aware of it, and they can also get access. The students can get access to multiple different companies get access to good candidates. Like what we are trying to build is something for something like Naukri, but for placement freshers who are coming out of college, where companies can hire a lot of talent pool. For example, we are a startup, right? For us to go to a placement campus is not easy, like with our scale of operations, right? So for us, if we have this tool, we can just post like if there are in the platform, there's like 100 colleges, right? We can post our job requirement. It gets instantly published to all these 100 campuses, and someone there'll be there who can apply for our job, and we can hire them, right? So that is the idea. We want to democratize placement system. My idea or my personal thought is there's one person in every college across India who can be placed in Google or Apple or any top tier companies, right? So we want to find that potential. We don't want to find currently placement system works on potential of the college, but not potential on the student. So we want to flip that, and we want to give potential student access to good companies.
So related to this, how do you approach like market segmentation and reach out to different educational institutions or users? And just like you mentioned, like the new thing you are going to like launch, how are you going to, reach out to companies for the placement thing?
Yeah, so like especially for placement, right? It's a networking effect. So you need colleges to get companies, you need companies to get colleges. So it's a chicken and egg problem which we are trying to solve. So the major channels which has worked is basically LinkedIn outreach.
Yeah.
And probably inside sales, calling, email, SEO are some of the things which has worked for us and is working currently. So what has majorly worked for us is LinkedIn outreaches, trying to talk to recruiting HRs, campus recruiters, trying to understand. And in fact, we have done a lot of research talking to them, understanding what their pain points are. And for colleges specifically, we also reach out to most of the colleges are in the heads of the colleges are in LinkedIn. So we reach out to them through LinkedIn. We do some LinkedIn campaigns, we do social media campaigns. So, and also through cold calling. So these are different channels we approach, and every segmentation is different. Schools is slightly different. We kind of do direct marketing there, direct sales, where we go to the campuses, visit them, and that's a longer chain of process.
What trends in the edtech industry do you find most exciting or concerning?
I find AI and VR exciting. And I don't find them concerning, but if you used effectively, I don't see a problem in AI being in education. So I feel, like I said, right, AI will democratize a lot of things what we think it is not accessible to everyone. Like today, if I want a private tutor, I can just open my phone and have a private tutor with me, right? So that's what is exciting. Like we can build a lot of use cases with AI, like be it generate question bank, generate contents for teachers, right? If you want to generate content now, you need to go to a content provider who's any videos or any text you want to create, you need to go to a content provider to do it, right? Now teacher can just say, go to ChatGPT or go to any AI tools, right? And say, generate a PDF for this topic. It will generate the whole content for them. Yes, obviously they need to do corrections to it. The first draft is ready for them from where they can start working towards it. So that's what excites me. And that's what we want to include that and help teachers develop their own content, develop their own learning paths for students.
Okay, so how do you source and curate educational content for your platform?
So we are not content providers, so we don't do any content. We have partners, content provider companies who we partner with and provide content to the schools.
Okay, so what companies are you like in partnership with?
We are working with Quest, Next Education, and yeah, Quest and Next Education are our partners in terms of content providing.
So how do you ensure like this companies which you have tied up with, how do you ensure that the contents it's up to date and aligned with educational standards?
For example, we kind of do with Quest, for example, our partnership with Quest, right? Quest is basically they have their own schools and schools, so they keep ensure that the content is updated as per their, because they use the same content for their school kids. So that's what content they're giving it us also. So kind of we verify. We have an academic team in our office also who kind of verify for content is validated. Is it an up to standard? If anything is not up to standard, we reach out to our partners to ask them to update, and they're very quick in updating and giving the new content. So we have an in-house academic team to verify and validate the content provided by this thing.
Okay.
Primarily, we are not an academic, we are not a content company, but we kind of go above and beyond. Like we want to be a single point of contact or a what to say, when a company partner, a school partners with us, right? We want to be a single point for them to complete digitalization workflow.
So can you describe any like or recent user experience from your like your platform?
Definitely. This is regarding a product called ExamX, which is basically a digital examination system. What is unique about that system is it uses like when you think about digital examination, you think about objective questions, right? You normally don't think about descriptive. Even though if it's descriptive, it's normally you type in the computer, right? Again, that becomes you're testing the typing skills rather than not testing their writing skills. So we use iPad or Android and stylus to do this whole handwritten examination system. So we were doing a examination in one of the colleges in southern India. And what happens is when you are using a pen and paper based exam, right? He had an internal exam. He wrote the same exam a week back, and the book there's only 12 sheets in his whole exam booklet. So even though he had time, he had time, he knows the answer for a question, he couldn't finish the exam because of the constraint of the book. The book had 6 sheets. He had already finished 6 sheets answering 3 questions, and he couldn't write the final answer. But when we did the digital exam, right, it's unlimited canvas for him. He can write how much ever he want. He had time, so he was able to write the exam, and he ended up getting more marks than what he actually did in the digital in the pen and paper based exam. So that was a enlightening thing where he gave us the feedback that this gives me an unlimited canvas to express myself.
Okay, so what has been the most rewarding part of your journey as a founder?
One of the major rewarding thing is to see how the small changes what we do right in a campus, making learning impact to a student. Like for example, we did a complete digital transformation of a school, starting from digitalization of the classroom, ERP system, LMS, everything we deployed, right? One of the things what we did is anything a student writes on a smart board gets captured in our platform. So a student, when he misses a campus, right, or doesn't come to class because he's sick or he's unwell, right, what happens? Usually a parent would message in 100 WhatsApp groups to asking, can you send me notes? Can you send me homework? Now, they don't need to do all that because as and when the teacher does the teaching, it gets recorded and it's placed in the platform. So the parents can immediately explain that to the student, or the student himself can see and he can learn. So just because he missed a class because he's sick, he's not left behind. He's up on par with the classroom. Or not only if he's sick, if a student is a slow learner, right? Now he's not left behind. So he can go home, catch up to what his plans are, and the system would give a personalized learning for him, where based on what his quizzes are, what his marks are, it will guide him towards his path. So that has been rewarding. Like a small change, what we do in our platform kind of impacts the students' like learning outcome. He learns better.
Okay. So post the pandemic, are
Mhm.
you seeing any challenges with like EdTech?
Yes, definitely. So there is a slowdown in the whole. I think during pandemic we saw an exponential growth, right? But fortunately for us, we didn't see growth big in B2B market where we operate, right? First, we operate with schools and colleges. They were not buying any ERPs or LMS during the pandemic. But post-pandemic, schools and colleges have realized that they need to digitalize the campus. Just there could be a rain tomorrow, there could be another pandemic, there could be anything, right? They need to be prepared for digitalizing. They don't want to send Zoom links in WhatsApp or send reading materials or conduct exams in what to say Zoom Meet or Google Meet, right? So we see a lot of B2B segment growing in terms of where schools want to digitalize. So we see a lot of traction in the last 2 years post-pandemic.
So there's are still some parents and some students like who don't want to do Zoom, like they think that the personal thing should be there.
Yes.
So how do you plan to like maintain that personal touch with the teacher and the student, between the teacher and the student?
Yes, I feel there should be always a personal touch between student and parent. So that is why we want to take the administrative burden from the teachers. We want to remove like them collecting fees or collecting doing administrative tasks, or rather they can focus on creating content, creating learning outcomes, and interact with more students and get their feedback. So that is what we want to give the time back to the teachers to interact with the students more.
So recently, like you must have heard about Byju's, right?
Yes.
The all the scam and everything. What do you think are the threats after that on the edtech industry?
So in general, after Byju's, I see there's a lot of trust issues with parents. In terms of when you stay at tech, not only with parents, in general public audience,
General people.
because of again the reason being every company had an exponential growth during pandemic, right? So companies are not able to sustain that hyper growth, so things are going all around the place, right? So I see a lot of trust issues. So I think some of the good companies coming out of this would change it. For example, you can take Khan Academy for example. People trust, right? It's a trustable brand. There are examples like that, even Unacademy for the fact, right? It has survived the pandemic and it is getting a good reputation in terms of market reach. And it, in fact, Unacademy also had exponential growth during pandemic, but they have been able to maintain the brand value and brand thing, right? So I would say that trust has become a problem now, but I think probably some good companies like Greatify or good companies would do good sales, right? Or I would say not toxic sales, but positive sales are like in a helping way we do our business, right? I think EdTech would be a good market to be in India.
Okay.
Not only India, but globally, I think.
Yeah, globally. What are your long-term goals for the platform, like in the next 5 to 10 years? And what are the plans for raising funds?
So our plan in general for the next 5 to 10 years is like again automation and streamline everything. Like I want to be like a verb. Like when you say you'd say send me in WhatsApp, right, or send me in Uber, call me a Uber, or you don't say call me a taxi, right? You call a verb, right? So we want to be like that. We want to be like if you want to think about a school or a college, right? We want to be like, oh, let's install Greatify. Let's talk to Greatify to get things done. So that's what we want to be. We want to be the single point of contact for any digitalization need for a college or a school. And regarding our raising funds, so we are at the consolidation phase now. So we want to look at raising funds later this year or early next year.
So because it is very important for a startup, to raise funds.
Correct. Yeah. Currently, we are
Like
completely
any
bootstrapped.
partners or someone you are looking for right now? Any partners or any big companies you are looking for the funding thing? Have you ever talked
Uh,
with them, something like that?
not exactly. We have not reached out to things. So our plan is to consolidate this year. Like we wanted to have good, positive. Like we are self-sustainable currently, so we wanted to continue in that growth. So when by December is when we actually want to seriously start looking at outside fund.
Okay, so Dinesh, these were my questions. It was a really nice interaction with you.
Same here.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to have a discussion, and I hope you got some good like points from my side.